Hello, welcome to GeoTab 101, Agriculture Commodity Exemption 395.1 K1. What this exemption allows you to do is to work and drive within a 150-mile air mile radius to load an agriculture commodity. 150 mile air radius calculates to 172.6 actual miles. Now, when I say air mile radius, it does not mean total miles, okay? It's a radius. You draw your 150-mile radius from your point of location where you're gonna load. So, if you look at this drawing, you have your yard your yard, your warehouse. Here from South Texas, you're traveling through 77 and through 281. As you can see here, you see Refugio, Texas, and Three Rivers, Texas. That's where I've calculated the 150-mile radius from here, from South Texas. You can be loading from McAllen, Far, Hidalgo, Edinburgh, etc. This is going to be the warehouse. This is where your 150-mile radius starts. Okay. Now, in order to claim that whole exemption, if your yard is within the 150-mile radius from your warehouse, then you can start your exemption from the yard. If your yard is outside of the radius, then you have to use your hours of service until you enter the 150-mile radius from your location where you're going to load. Okay. Now, you have to be empty. You have to be unladen to go load up the commodity. You cannot go bobtail and go pick up a preloaded trailer that's already loaded with an agriculture commodity. That exemption does not apply to you. You yourself have to go and load that trailer for that commodity. Now, how does this work? So before I leave my yard, majority of the people, what they do not open up their log until they get to Refugio or Three Rivers. But I always recommend, if using an electronic device, always activate your log. Now, not necessarily activate your log with your hours of service, but activate your personal conveyance, so that way your miles and your locations are registered when you first started using your agriculture exemption. It makes it easier for everybody. Okay? For you, for the company, as far as recording the miles, total miles that truck's been moving, and for DOT as well. Okay, make it easier where you activated your personal conveyance, and that way you do not also have unidentified driving events. Okay, so before you leave the yard, you're gonna activate your PC. In the video that I'm gonna show you for the GeoTab, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna activate it. I just wanted to show you real quick how it works. From the yard, you activate your PC before you even move your truck. Then you can go empty to the warehouse. So the miles from the yard to the warehouse will not count towards you. All the time spent at the warehouse will not count towards you. Once you get loaded, you can, if you're gonna go down up 77, you can drive all the way to Refugio. If down 281, you can drive all the way to Three Rivers without having to log your hours of service. Okay. Once you get to Refugio and Three Rivers, then that's before you exit those two towns. Then that's where you will activate your hours of service. And that's when your 11, 14, and 70 hour begins. Okay, not here. Now, always recommend it. Just because you still have your full hours in Refugio and Three Rivers, if you're tired from any time in between, stop and get your rest. Do not risk it. Yes, we understand you saved a couple of hours. You're going to be full of hours once you get there because of the exemption. But if you're tired, get some sleep. Rest before you exit your 150-mile radius. Okay? I cannot emphasize it enough. If you're tired, rest. Just because you're under the exemption, if a DOT pulls you over and sees that you're tired, fatigue, he will put you out of service. Plain and simple. So do not risk it. Okay. Now, real quick, we activated the agriculture exemption to go load. Now, if you're on your way back and you're empty, once you enter the 150-mile radius again empty, and your next load is going to be an agriculture exemption commodity, you can activate your agriculture exemption once you enter Refugio or Three Rivers back, only if you're empty. For example, you unloaded in Houston. Okay, from Houston to Refugio, you have to use your hours. Okay, but once you enter Refugio, then you can activate your PC again with your agriculture exemption commodity exemption. Only if you're empty. If you're loaded, you cannot use it. Okay, only if you're empty. So let's go to our GeoTab drive. There's another video on how to use a GeoTab drive without the agriculture exemption. So if you already seen that video, you see that you would be entering your username. As you can see, it's my email address that I have. I've already used it, so automatically it's going to register there. I go to next, put my password, and log in. Oops. Okay. So you already know how to select your vehicle. Like I said, everything's connected to the Bluetooth, so you should be able to find your vehicle there. But since we're using this as a demo, I'm gonna have to manually enter my vehicle just for this purpose, okay? You're never gonna enter manually your truck number because you want it to connect automatically. This is how it's gonna appear when it searches through Bluetooth. So you click on the circle there. Okay, you have no trailer attached yet, so we're gonna put our trailer. It's gonna be this trailer. Let's say I've been using the same trailer, right? There it is, 100. Continue. Shipments. I do not have shipment yet, right? Because I haven't not loaded the trailer yet. So I'll show you where you're gonna put your shipments as soon as you get loaded. Now I go to save and continue. Now in my previous video, we show how to certify and inspect your DVAR, because it's gonna ask you for DVR just for this purpose. Only for the ones who are gonna load up their agriculture exemption. This is the only time that you're gonna skip, okay? Because remember, if I put certify and inspect, it automatically is gonna put me on duty, and we don't want that, okay? Now, I will tell you, you will physically do your pre-trip, but you're not gonna register it. Why? Because if we register, it's gonna put you on duty. We don't want that yet. We don't want to open up our log yet. So we're gonna put skip, okay? I'm on off duty there. Let's go to HOS. Now to activate the agriculture exemption, we have to activate the personal conveyance. Okay, once I put personal conveyance, these are the notes you have to put for your exemption, okay? Exempt AG operations. And the regulation 395.1 in parentheses K and the number 1. I'll leave that there for a little bit so you can see how it's going to be registered. Okay, and apply. Once you activate that personal conveyance, then you have your gray circles, okay? That's very important. Let's say you activated the personal conveyance, you get to the warehouse, you're loading, but you decide to turn off your truck. Once you turn off your truck, automatically it's gonna deactivate your personal conveyance. Okay, so if you do turn off the truck, make sure before you take off, you're gonna have to activate your personal conveyance again and put the notes again, okay? It's very important. This is only if you turn off your truck. If you leave it on, it should be on PC all that time. Okay. I had to enter it again because I turned off the truck. When I turn it back on, it's going to show that my PC got deactivated. So now I got to apply it again. Okay, there we go. So we're at the warehouse. Like I said, you're going to activate your PC before you even take off from the yard. So now I can take off to the yard from the yard to the warehouse. Once I get to the warehouse, whatever time I spent there is not going to count towards me. Okay? If you can take advantage of some rest, go ahead and take some rest there while you're waiting. Okay? So let's say they gave me my bill of lading. Now before I take off, I'm going to go ahead and register my shipment number, okay? So before you leave, it's very important. We have our truck, our trailer, but we still didn't have our bill of lading number. So let's go ahead and add it. Usually the bill of lading number is going to be on the top right corner. Shipper number, BOL number, or load number, whichever number is in the top right corner that matches your documents, okay? If by any chance you cannot find that bill of lading number, then you'll have to put the shipper name and commodity. What does it mean is, where did you load? Let's say you loaded at Lola's. Commodity, broccoli, right? I think I spelled it wrong. Okay, that's if you couldn't find your bill of lading number. If you did find it, you can go ahead and put it. All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's just say it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to put all 3, that's fine. There's no problem with that. Let's go to add. So you're adding Lola's, 1, 2, 3, broccoli. Continue. So now I got my truck, trailer, and my shipments, my bill of lading numbers. Okay. Now I can take off from the warehouse. I'm still within the 150-mile radius, so all the hours driving and working does not count towards me. Now, a lot of people ask, Mark, what if the commodity comes from Mexico, or and they unloaded it here? What if the Mexico driver used the exemption for himself? Yes, that's fine. It can be unloaded. The commodity can be unloaded in a temporary facility. It can be a cold storage or whatever facility, as long as it does not change its original form or packaging or significant packaging. Okay? So in other words, it cannot be processed. The way it came from Mexico, that's the way you have to take it. If it changed, like they processed the commodity, then it loses its agriculture commodity. Okay? And like I said, you're the one that has to be empty and go load up the commodity. You cannot go bobtail or have someone load it for you and then you claim the exemption. No. You have to go and load up the commodity. So now I put my shipments, I go back, I go to HOS, I'm still in PC. Now I take off. If I'm going let's say the East Coast, I'm going to go all the way to Refugio. Okay? Like I said, let's say you get tired at the warehouse, or you get tired in between Fatfurias, Kingsville, anywhere in between. As long as if you're tired, get your rest. Do not risk it. Okay? So let's say I get to Refugio. I'm good to go. The warehouse didn't take too long. I'm fresh. I'm not tired. I can drive. Okay? Once I get to Refugio, then that's when I put stop. Now the gray already disappeared. So now I go on duty. That's fine. Add a notation. Now I'm going to do my pre-trip. Before I take off from Refugio, I'm going to do my pre-trip. Save. Now remember, anytime you do a pre-trip or post-trip, you got to register your pre-trip, okay? Your DVIR. Now, remember in the beginning we put skip? Now we're going to certify and inspect. Certify period inspection. I checked everything. It's my pre-trip. No defects. Are you sure? Yes. Now my trailer. Certify period inspection. Now you're not going to put a check mark on everything. It's only if you found something wrong, okay? And then you put an X on it. Pre-trip and no defects. Are you sure? Yes. Okay, now I go to HOS here in the bottom. Now I can take off. Now I'm not going to click on driving. Automatically after 5 miles per hour, it's going to put you on driving automatically. Okay, that's how you activate your personal conveyance for the agriculture commodity. Okay, never leave the yard without logging. When I say logging, that means activating your log with the personal conveyance with the agriculture exemption. Do not leave with your log off, turned off, or without applying the exemption. Okay, then what happens is you can just make things worse. So this is how you're going to activate your agriculture exemption on the GEO tab. The same thing, once you come back empty, let's say you get to refugio, you stop, put yourself on off duty, view exemptions, and you just activate your personal conveyance and you put your exemption. Only if you know that your next load is gonna be an agriculture exemption commodity. Okay, you're gonna load up car parts and then you cannot activate it. Okay. So obviously, always want to log out, right? If I'm not going to use the trailer anymore, and always take off your shipments, always, when you're going to leave your truck and trailer, because if you don't take them off when you do your next load, this is going to appear again. We don't want that, so we're going to take it off. Obviously verify your logs, agree, now log out. Okay, thank you for watching. This is the GeoTab 101 on how to use the agriculture exemption. Thank you.